And the third time's the charm. We are live. It's Ben here from Second Dynasty. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me know in the chat. I am back. I'm back from my sabbatical in Australia. I've been home for 3 weeks, visited with family, gallivanted all over the place, gathered a pretty bad cough from the dry air in the desert that I'm still hanging on to. So if I cough today, I'm sorry. You know where it's coming from. I'm not actually all that ill, although obviously after a big trip like that, there's a lot of jet lag to get over. So nice to see so many people in the chat. I can see Hannes is there with the woot woot. Anders, Dalton, welcome my Canadian friend. Oh, even Wintergarten. Martin, welcome. You love the new ship. Is it inspired by the Cybertruck? Great work. Very funny, Martin. This is in fact the new ship that I am working on, and let's turn some lighting on and look at what we're actually got. This is my Starfighters 3 scene, so it is quite busy. But we have here a cargo hauler. I don't have a name for it. Let's isolate this actually so that we don't have any of the other junk in the scene at the moment. It is designed to transport these cargoes. I kind of had the idea for this, and as with many ideas, you know, they start out small. John's like, oh, we should do some release for this month. I didn't really feel like it was time for part 2 of the Stalwart. And even the Stalwart, looking at it, I'm just like, I'm not quite happy with it yet. So I think it will be a early next year thing to tackle. And of course, I went a little bit overboard. I could have made something simplistic, but I was thinking, it's December. It's the season for giving, so why not put a little bit more effort in this time around? So we got something that I would say is originally based quite heavily on the spider bug. You can see some of the main differences here. And in fact, we can kind of maybe look at them side by side here. So I will just select the spider bug, and I'll select this thing which we need to name today. And then I have so many things to show you guys. I only really just started opening up my art like on Friday last week. And I've been stuck at home. There's been a lot of snow. My tires didn't get changed until Wednesday. So I've been at home with the dog, and that usually means not as much gets done. So here is the spider crab. Sorry, I keep calling it the spider bug because it was inspired by the spider bug, which was a utility vessel from the original Macross TV series. So you can kind of see here that the cab and the engine sections is quite similar to the spider crab on the new vehicle. Of course, it is a sort of VTOL type model. The landing gear are the side engines here, but you do have these underside thrusters, kind of like a Harrier jump jet, to sort of get you off the ground, and these cool landing gear, and then you have this forklift-like mechanism which you know, when it's dropping cargo, will very much like the modular cutter. Sorry, I've got the wrong snapping system here. We'll pull back a little, you know, drop the module, lift off, and then back you go into the sky. So not very aerodynamic, I guess. It's still more of a spacecraft. You can see the sort of design here of the airlocks on the sides. A little bit more detailing and paneling going in. Part of the reason we're not getting sharp shadows here is because we still have the spider crab selected. So in theory, if I'd... Oh no, it's based on the entire scene, so yeah. Let's see. John, Martin, I hope you're enjoying life and have defeated your foes in glorious combat. Lovely. Solo Spirit, hey, welcome. Dalton says, just watching with YouTube in the background as I work on code review. I know you're busy, buddy. Hopefully you get a bit of time soon for your hobbies. That blasted Samouflage, a wild Samouflage appears. Indeed. Welcome back, welcome back. And John is correcting me. So the pirate version when? I don't know about that. Certainly not now. This is a larger project than I anticipated. I think we've probably got about half a day before it's printable. I was thinking maybe I could get it today to the point where it would be, but I don't know. I've been quite thinly spread, you might say, in the last couple of days. So it's nice to see so many viewers back and checking in. Of course, next week is when we start the dedicated work on the stretch goals from our last Traveller campaign. This week has been more about trying to get back into the swing of things, and of course, as having a tribes, every month we need to have a release. I'll probably just have a render out today. Pretty nice looking renders, if you ask me. I think we're stepping up. And then I'd say maybe Monday is where we're looking at the proper release for it. So sorry about the delays. Maybe we'll add some stuff from last month in case, you know, you're new to the tribes or whatnot. But this will be a big build, and I think for $5, it's a pretty damn good deal, to be honest. I'd probably sell this for considerably more once it gets on the store, right? So it has these sort of like wibbly wobbly bits, timey-wimey bits. I kind of like the way that we can sort of recycle bits and bobs from the spider crab. So these, in theory, you could ungimbal lock it. So I guess these are sort of like just for helping out if you're in an atmosphere or that sort of situation. I still need to shore up exactly how this thing is going to fit together and carry all this weight. I don't think it'll be an issue though, because basically it's got two stands either side, right? And it's got the landing gears to the port and starboard. So let's see. Your circulatory system is going so well, your face is flush with blood. Yeah, it could be a little bit of sunlight. I didn't sunbathe in Australia. That's not really something you do if you can avoid it. Mostly because of, you know, cancer. But yeah, I did get a slight bit of colour and came straight back to... yeah, that was fun. I had a 6-hour delay in the very last hour of my trip in Copenhagen. I could have literally gotten on a train and gotten home quicker, but I still needed to pick my car up from the airport, so I waited, landed at Landvetter in Gothenburg, or just outside of it, and of course, really rocky winds. Land is at like 50k an hour winds, and it's just pissing down rain, and it is 1 kilometer in the open air to my car, and my winter clothes were in the car. So I was absolutely drenched by the time I got home. I just spent 33 hours traveling and then drove myself home another hour and a half in Gothenburg traffic with about a 25-meter visibility. Good to be home though, but then it started snowing, and yeah, we've had about, I'd say, 10 inches of snow, which is only just starting to settle now. But yeah, so we've had a bit of chaos because most people have had their tires switched out. You're supposed to do it in November. Of course, I've been away, so I had to wait, and my wife also had to wait. So yeah, we need to name this craft today, and we're going to be working on it when we are working on things. But this is not the only thing I've been working on. It was really good to get away from work for 3 weeks. I literally did not do anything except the bare minimum to sort of maintain the company, pay bills and whatnot. I have to pay some bills today, actually. But I have recuperated somewhat, I guess, from... I was quite close to hitting the wall, I felt, before I left. And, you know, just getting out and doing other things has helped regenerate my sort of pool, I guess, of creativity. And look at this thing. It started out as, you know, just some cheap exploitation of the spider crab. And now we have a design I'm actually quite proud of. I really like this, actually. And I can see getting variants where, like, you might just have a bunch of power suits down the back or something like that. That could be really cool. Of course, nothing for now. So there are 2 other things I've been working on when I've been inspired. So Oh, Shergirl got a K1 Max and have been working on printing the gig. What is a K1 Max? Is it an FTM printer or an SLA printer? The gig at least I think has SLA files, but I didn't do it myself. Do the VTOL engines pivot? Yes, they do. So, this is landed, and this is flight. So there you go. So yeah, a nice industrial type vehicle. I think it would look cool in any sort of tabletop. This feels like it would fit into a cyberpunk scene, sci-fi scene. I'm running the Alien RPG at the moment, which is in my thoughts a lot. A K1 Max is an inspired version of a bamboo printer made by Creality with a larger build plate. Okay. In other words, the Chinese ripped themselves off. Okay, so on to the next thing I'm going to show you guys before we move back to working on this thing and discuss maybe where we're going towards the end of the year. December's a time for reflection and January is a time for new beginnings. So during our campaign, I was not the only one running something online. In fact, Kathy Millat, who is our friend on her YouTube channel, was running a Star Wars inspired lava campaign on Kickstarter. And as a part of that, we did a collaboration where we were going to offer Transport Delta, our most galaxy far, far away looking ship, right? It's meant to use a design language somewhere between a Corellian ship and our own sort of like shuttle Alpha, I guess. So the Delta has had some updates. Now, we've previously gone back and we've updated like shuttle Alpha to the Mark IV. The Delta is in some ways our oldest ship because the Beta also got an update into the Beta Centauri when we started doing traveler ships. And this is a design that I'm not particularly proud of today because there's a lot of issues with the print job that could have been better. Also, we never standardized the interior, and so I've probably put a couple of days into fixing this all up, some of which, the yellow stuff in particular, I did for Kathy, for her build, which she actually printed in 35mm instead of 28. Absolutely massive. But you can see some changes, and if you are familiar with the Delta, it used to have these engines that were really awkward to stick in. Now it has the modular design that technically you could fit a light kit in. So it uses our light kits there. It has this is just a built-in print support thing. So technically you could also light the inside if you wanted. There's room for a battery or whatever. And you can also, I think the original design, you had to take off the engine cones if you wanted to take off the top. This rear section has actually been divided up into 4 pieces for printability. So now everything print support free, which is a nice change. I didn't like the overhangs. I haven't looked at the top section yet, but I don't think it's as much of an issue. And I've just been working on, this is the folding ramp that we used on, let me see, Odyssey. So that's replacing the static ramp that we had on this thing. I was originally looking into doing some sort of like side pylons, but it just feels like a bit of overkill. I'd rather focus on doing a better interior job than what we had. And this is kind of what's been going on. And since then I've also redesigned the front. So this didn't print support free before, it does now. We have all of this underfloor detail that wasn't there. Sorry about that, there's that cough. I've added in a new floor that is sort of like more Falcon, has a more like a Millennium Falcon floor style for the cargo bay, because this is supposed to be a forward cargo bay. You can see too, I have reworked the missile system. So this was a stretch goal in the original one. It has been modified just a little with like slightly higher detailed pipes and whatnot. Actually, I'm surprised that isn't all one object yet. I guess I haven't bound it together. And you can kind of see here the missile launcher variation of this part. One of the complaints that we've had is that the nose has a tendency to dip, especially in the 30mm version. So now, instead of just the 2 open lock clips down the bottom, there are side clips as well. So this should be reinforced, and I don't think it'll be drooping anymore. We've still got a bit of work to do to finish this, obviously. It probably has another day or 2 left. I added this detail to down the bottom. Again, just a few little open ports and things. I'm not going to change everything, but some things. Now, we've remade a floor hatch here. So the base version of the Delta doesn't have a turret well, but I think I'm just going to build it in so that you could either have an airlock there or, install a turret if you wanted. The turrets itself I'm going to replace with the newest version. I might also change the standard gun here so it just feels a bit more Galaxy far, far away. I don't know, maybe I'll change the standard turret for the Delta. The only thing is, some of the changes I'm making, I'm not sure how compatible the different variants will be. I have tried to keep things in the same place, but like, for example, well, I guess actually this altered front, right, this part having 2 clip holes now is not going to make a huge difference. So where it might look a bit odd is if you have the asymmetric version. I think this isn't a perfect circle anymore. You can kind of see here that this is where the circle originally was, or here, and now it goes, it's sort of like, you can see these parts slope out a bit more, and here it goes straight under to account for whatever these are. You might pretend they're missile launchers or something, I don't know. It's really just Nernies or Greeblies or whatever you want to call them. I do need to change the floor here because this currently intersects. And I'm also in the process of getting rid of some of these built-in supports. So I don't know. I also don't like the layout. We used to have the kitchen here. You had beds in the same room, a couple of freshers. The ship had 3 freshers, which seems excessive for a crew of, say, 6. So I want to put some beds in, just like a sleeper. I was thinking of having a sleeper passage, basically. Like something like this. Right, we need to put that back. And then having, some beds sort of built into the walls there. That's my current idea. And then that you have a sort of like kitchen area here. And the wall, sorry, it's auto-saving. The wall used to be here. I think you're moving it in a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. But I want to standardize the design. This piece was donated by Kathy. Hope you're enjoying or enjoyed Comic-Con, Kathy, if you're watching this back. And, I just wanted to do a little bit more with this space. I was thinking I might make a more custom fresher. So it's like you go in, there's a toilet, and then around the corner there's more like a shower section. So it just uses a bit better space. And then the other thing I was thinking of doing is moving some of this to the hallway, replacing those beds. So you've got a dedicated sleeping area, a dedicated eating area. We might even make this hall turn a little bit, just to get a bit more of an area for eating. I don't know. But this is a fair bit of work that's gone into this. It's probably got a couple of days left. The idea was to put about a week, maybe 5 or 6 production days into updating it a little bit. Make the Delta design a little bit more solid. And I think we're on our way. This used to just have a plate leading down into those sections. I I don't know. I really like this floor, by the way, is semi-transparent. I've yet to test print it, but I think it should print like this. Yeah, I think it'll be nice. It'll make for some interesting formats. Let's see. Name for the new craft: Dung Beetle Carryall, because it moves your shit. Having the most 3D printable toilets on the internet. Yes, indeed. So yeah, I still don't love the way that this ramp folds up. I kind of wish there was an easy way to close this off and have a second ramp. I guess it's not too late to modify this to have a like, if this shell sort of like folded down and the ramp comes out separately. There's still not like a lot of overhead clearance, but I mean, people ducked getting into the Millennium Falcon too. I've also considered taking these out as an option, which would help the clearance. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to do there yet. It needs a bit more thinking. So that's that. And then, I don't know what you missed, John. You can watch it back. I will just save this in case I have seen anything and changed anything I don't quite recall. We're going to change our project to a brand new folder called Starship 6. And we're going to take a look at what I'm calling the Nostromo. And I will add a caveat and a warning before we get into this. There's a big part of me that feels like this is a stupid idea. It has the potential to be a ridiculously large project. It's a big ship. A very big ship. And this is just a map out of the size of it. It's probably close to 2 feet by 2 feet by, say, 15 inches, something like that. There's a bunch of crap in here I need to hide that I've just imported from Odyssey. So let me just... maybe that's in a group. Is that in its own group? No. So we just want to put some of these things, at least temporarily, into hidden mode, so you can kind of see the concept a little bit better. Hide, and what is that? Well, it doesn't matter too much. But, so you basically got your vehicle bay down here. There'll be a lift or a ladder system. You've got your power plant section at the back. You've got your jaunt drives here. Your main engines, engineering and landing gear sections. I'm still trying to figure out how to support all of this. Brian asked, how about extending rather than folding the ramp? It does both, actually, the ramp that's installed. So yeah, this is the Nostromo. Basically, trying to make it feel like it's a smaller ship that fits in the alien universe using the design language. A lot of parts would be Odyssey compatible, or rather Chimera compatible, I guess. Lots of new stuff though too, and it also has its own sort of lifeboat inspired by the Narcissus. This could be a big project though. This could be the big one for 2024. What I'm not sure of is which slot it's going to go into. In theory, we should have a campaign in March. But this will be a big ship. So, I'm not sure if we're going to... I don't think it can be done by March. So, I'm not entirely sure if this is too ambitious, if I should do something a bit smaller. Not entirely sure at this point. So this was kind of like the get home from holidays, feel inspired. I did sort of start playing with this before I even went on holidays. And I have done a little bit of work on the hall, but I don't know. I think we might be getting a little too close. Although, what's too close? It's hard to know. So, yeah, this is what I'm thinking for the large project for 2024. Yeah, it is ambitious, and it's going to be heavy, which is what has me worried. I'm worried about how to take off the different levels so it's playable. The level's actually designed to have crawl spaces in between, so it will be this labyrinth network sort of thing. How can we stack it? More importantly, how can we support this in such a way that I can, with Mika's help, recreate the Nostromo landing on LV-426 in miniature? That is the sort of goal. March will be too soon for this, I'd say. And it needs a slower marketing build-up. Yeah, okay. I mean, the lifeboat is a good idea, and I have to admit that's something I've considered. The thing is, I don't know that it's a big enough project to warrant its own campaign. I guess it in itself, like the size is deceptive. This would be as big or bigger than a Shuttle Alpha. And a Shuttle Alpha still is a... Let's see. I'm doing research and stuff just to get inspiration here. So I love that kind of phase of things. But if we go to My Mini Factory and we look at our campaigns... And of course, the other thing too is March is too soon for sure, thinking about it, because we have way more stuff we have to still deliver. We have outstanding stuff about where in the timeline we're going to get finished our small craft stuff. We just get on to the campaign here. Campaigns, there we go. And I just wanted to look at the Shuttle Alpha. This was a relaunch, new vehicle. What did we do on that? Oh, sorry, we ran a Kickstarter. So we got $5,000 on that. The Kickstarter itself was $20,000. So $25,000 for a Shuttle Alpha. Will that keep the lights on if we did just the lifeboat? We'd have to do a whole bunch of other stuff with it, so I don't know. The point is, I haven't gotten a chance to actually talk to John about what happened while I was away yet. We need to figure out the tribes, what we're going to do with it. We have the tribes released. The other thing too is the tribes is not something I want to neglect. This obviously is not neglecting a tribe. I feel like if we're providing a vehicle like this, sure, you can have your $1 tribes with your 1 or 2 miniatures or whatever, and their releases of 10 or 20 miniatures. But here you're getting a solid vehicle, complicated vehicle, something that's going to look large and cool on your tabletop. And I think this is, this can help us keep interest in the tribe and grow it over time. And then if we add some kind of traveler component to that in the future, or do a separate one, I don't know. This is the kind of, what I'm talking about. December, January, that's going to be the time where we figure out what are we going to do in the near future. What do we need to do to succeed? I don't know if we're going to turn a profit this year. Probably not. I don't think we're too far off it, but we can't operate the way we have been operating. We need to think about new things, and I think we've already arrived at the conclusion that the last Traveller project did very well because it was a smaller campaign for us, production-wise. than a large ship. It did very well for what it was, especially for a bunch of interesting looking ships. And we can continue to do smaller stuff maybe without it being, a massive Kickstarter campaign. Like, it doesn't have to be the end of Traveller. We can do stuff with the license, but maybe not on the scale that we've been doing. And the big projects we do this year are original content. Something that I will feel more inspired by, something you can still use in Traveller, and something that is... Well, our most successful campaign was the Notanante, the Sleipnir. So it makes sense for us to do a large original ship and sort of try and mimic that feeling. And I feel like, Alien has that pull as a sort of theme, right? Even though the Alien role-playing game is more a theater of the mind sort of thing, we're running the Colonial Marines campaign. It does feel like there's a lot more combat. There's a few things that the system doesn't handle that great, like when you have multiple aliens in a scene, basically because they go 2 to 3 times as often as the Marines do, and there's a good chance you'll just kill everyone. So yeah, that's at the back of my mind exactly how we're going to do that. I should probably look at the chat because I think we've probably had some feedback and suggestions. Tamsin says March is too soon for this. I agree. We do need a slower marketing build-up. Much agreement here. The Traveller Tribe we still need to talk about. Brian says, Ben, trying not to snicker while describing the latest ships. Yeah, well, we've been there, haven't we? That Blasted Sevenfly says, I love original content, no lie. I think the smaller craft have more use on a tabletop. That is entirely true. But the large craft sell very well in Kickstarter campaigns. Please use the legal name in reference to the Sleipnir, so yeah. To be fair, and add a disclaimer that when we're saying Alien or The Expanse, we mean the design language of, as in we're building ships and designs that feel like they would fit in that universe. It's complementary, it's not ripping off an exact copy of, so like just the same way that the Delta is not a Millennium Falcon knockoff. It is a ship that looks like it could have been made by the same manufacturer, or by a manufacturer making something similar to that, like say a Chinese-made MiG or something like that, where it's a J whatever. Technically, it's just a Russian knockoff, right? So it's kind of like an in-universe knockoff, if you can imagine something like that. I'm gonna try and use more decals going forward, because I feel like we need ways to stick out. There are a few technical challenges here, so let's see. Dalton says, a small escape boat vehicle, robot bridge, same dock as the small craft, mostly chairs, etc. Great for tribes. Yeah, that could be great for tribes, and it's quick and fairly easy to do, and even John has made a little variant following some of your suggestions. Michael Tenry says, homage to. Yes, a homage. The Sleipnir had a lot of help with The Expanse airing at the same time, or fresh in everyone's mind, so that's something to look in to what's coming out that you can piggyback momentum on. So, this is also an argument for the Nostromo. And this is because there is an Alien movie coming out, I believe next year, called Alien Romulus, set between Alien and Aliens. So there is some synergy there. There's still interest in the role-playing game. There's a new book coming out in January, Building Better Worlds, I think it's called. And And there's a TV series in the works as well. So there is an ongoing interest in that. There's a possibility to work in synergy with, say, Papsicles, who has a lot of alien-inspired miniatures. I prefer a little bit more original content in some areas. I don't think we'd try and get a license for that. I just don't think we have the resources for it. So I'd rather create something that feels like it fits into the universe without it being, a known named ship. But the sort of Anisadora-sized ship, the sort of Mantis-sized ship, that's about 40 to 50 meters, is something reasonable to build. It's kind of like in keeping with, I think the Chimera, is it 50 meters? I don't know. Let's look at the campaign. Way back in the day. This is a blast from the past in some ways. I think too we're going to try and keep our pricing on the lower end for the base ships, just so that we want somewhere to go when it does go onto my mini factory. So let's see. I think we have somewhere here the dimensions. Yeah, 54 meters this is. So we're probably talking about something from here to there, but much wider and taller. So, because this was only 7 inches from top to bottom and 9 inches wide. So, I think that's what she said in there somewhere. Robert James Models has a great dropship and APC model. Well, see, that's the other thing. We do have our, if we just go to our public profile here, that's the other thing. It might be time to do a Frontier again in March. Maybe not, do the Kickstarter thing. But if we go to objects here, you can see we have our Minotaur APC. And this is the sort of like, this feels like it could fit in the Alien universe, but it's not exactly the same as the APC from that. So this could, for example, easily work as a UPP APC or a different variant or that sort of thing. So it feels like it fits without it being, the exact same thing. Cheyenne inspired craft would do well as well. I think so too, but the thing with the Cheyenne that I think gets a bit riskier is the way that the missiles come out. I think there you're getting, yeah. Yeah, okay. John has lots of ideas, clearly. Brian, exactly this. In reference to what? Oh, right, yeah, like our APC, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we already have some things that can synergize with it. Let's just work on A, considering giving this thing a name, and B, getting parts of it printable. So I'm just going through the process now of cleaning this up, closing it off. This is the biggest printability issue I think we're going to have with whatever this craft ends up being called. And I guess I'm going to have to decide on a name today because we really kind of need some graphics. Crab Grab or Crab Haul. I don't think crab in the name is a good idea. What did we name? Let's see. Where did we do did we have a Kickstarter for the small craft? Sorry, not the small craft. Yeah, we did the Operation Maelstrom, right? So here we named a manufacturer. God, I've made so much stuff. It's really cool sometimes seeing all the stuff that we've done, but it's also overwhelming thinking about the sheer amount of work we've done over the past 6 years. Okay, so we called the pirate version the Lamprey. That was a great name for it. The Spider Crab SRV. Did we name a manufacturer? I don't see that we did. See, we've named the Stinger as like the Wolfram AH222. the Firefly is Hades Aerospace, and then Spider Crab is just like salvage and recovery vehicle, but it doesn't actually say. What do we have in our database? As a design language, I mean, we've already used it, yeah. Oh, the craft from Avatar, interesting. Well, I think in some ways they're also a bit in the same boat there. So what do we have in the description? It doesn't mention the manufacturer. Well, that's a shame. I was hoping we had a fictive name for it that we could follow on from. Wow, that is... I maybe need to simplify the graphics on this a little bit. I don't think this is necessarily the most readable. Like, it's much cooler seeing an image like that, right? Even so. God, that is... It's JPEGing, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a bit washed out. In any case, sorry, I went back to the wrong wire. So yeah, this cage is going to be a printability issue because this part prints like so. Normally, the front window is separate. The angles here are maybe 30 degrees. Some of them are even less. So it probably would have been better to go up a little bit further here and then cut across. But yeah, we'll see how this works out. I kind of want to test print and see how bad it is. I think it'll be bad, but I have designed this to have, you know, print in place, sorry, not print in place, but flat windows that you could install, in theory, or templates. A lot of people keep asking about that, so I'll keep that coming. But yeah, our goal right now is to close this off and turn it into a single printable solid object. So yeah, there's just a little bit more work we have to do. I should probably take a drink. A sip. So we need to open up this side and yeah, I think that's basically the gist of it. We need to make this all one cohesive large part. So I'm going to get rid of these. It does feel good to be back in the saddle, but at the same time I do feel like I could have spent another couple of weeks in Australia. It was over fast. Sadly, my family's quite spread out at the moment, with my dad living out in the country and my brother living in the Red Centre. It was really great to go and visit. Been to some beautiful areas in my country that I haven't seen before. I said that to my brother, you know, you've actually made me see 2 new states that I've never visited before just because you've moved. And that's been great. I think we'll just level this out a bit there. We probably don't need these fancy supports anymore. We can close this off. So it makes more sense actually to just delete that altogether, close that. I mean, this is a bit funky. I wonder, wait, is that just different shaders? Let's see if I straighten that out. Yeah, okay, that's a different shader, but yeah. So yeah, we'll just try and make this one cohesive part. So I think we'll get rid of this support. Let's see. That was no sip, it was a glug. Was it? I don't know. It's nice to be back in a country where they have the ultra watermelon flavored monsters. I did miss my wife and my dog though, so it was nice to get home to them. Alrighty. So, I think just extend this across. So yeah, I anticipate this being a problem, and this is why I'm thinking release probably on Monday or Tuesday, because I want to test print it. And that is where things could go wrong. I think the vast majority is going to be fine. It's just the real test will be... Why don't we grab that? The real test is going to be in how this front cockpit prints. So that might not be perfectly optimal, but the thing is, maybe we just get that up to there. If it looks a bit better. Then we slide this over. Love all the cackling coming from my neighbors. Sounds like they're having a good time in there. Got a bit of FOMO. But I'm having a good time in here with you guys. Let's see. Nothing new in the chat. How are you guys doing? I probably should ask that more often. It's not like I don't care. I do. You guys are some of my most loyal followers, and it really helps having people dropping by of a Friday. Keeps my energy levels up, especially if I've had a shitty week. It's nice to be reminded that, you know, your work is appreciated, and also get ideas. As you guys will have known, I've certainly farmed this community for ideas before. Looking at the shape of the new ship, as well as that it carries stuff, why not name it after a camel? Like a dromedary class cargo haul or a camelus class. I don't mind that idea. It's not too bad. Although I associate like camels with water and humps. I kind of like the cheekiness of the dung beetle idea. Michael Tenery says, going great, I assume, or just great, but my assumption would be that you're going great, which is in itself great. John says, I exist in a state of being, which is undeniable. You certainly do. And thank you, a big shout out to both John and Lisa Lott for holding down the fort while I was gone. Albin is still working on the film project. I think he's in his final month now. I bet he is excited to be done with it. Let's see. John likes the camel idea. That blasted camouflage is doing pretty shitty, actually. Jeez, mate. You know, I'm not asking for your last... No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry to hear about that. Hopefully things turn around and feel a bit better soon. Everyone has ups and downs. I know I certainly do. But yeah, I hope things turn around soon. Model says, make a tug version of it and call it the camel toe. Oh, good one. We're back there again. The bulk hauler. Is it bulk though if you've only got one cargo container? John held us hostage at Benjaminen Point. I hope that's not the reason why you're feeling shitty. Sorry to make light of that. But sometimes, you know, that's you got to laugh at it, don't you? So, yeah. Friday night. I think there might be some beer in my future today. Just one or two would be nice. Åker ni?
Ja, vi ska ut över en släng.
Oh,
Just because it's fun.
Ouch.
Varför då?
Oh, you know how much I hate Overby.
But I know how much Martin loves it with me.
I don't. Does Martin love it?
Yeah. He absolutely loves it.
Did you bring a shovel?
No.
The Tesla's buried. There's definitely they've plowed around the car.
It can handle any snowflakes.
Sorry guys, I've got Hannes and Martin in here about to head out, so
See you later. See you later.
bye bye. Well, yeah, we'll see. I'll probably be gone, so have a nice weekend. They really are nice guys. Let's see. John forced me to chain all the exit doors when you went. Not too bad. And that, of course, was Mr. Train Nerd and Mr. Martin from Wintergatan. Who is here visiting. So yeah, I think we've pretty much got this to the point where we can start thinking about combining the objects. I might want more lights on this. And again, yeah, this is the printability issue I'm concerned about. Technically it will print, there'll probably be a bit of droopage. Of course, I could put in supports and it would solve everything, but I like to make support-free designs. I don't like the idea of making this even sharper, and honestly, it would be a pain to change the angles here. What I could possibly do is just cut and make this, like, square this off a little bit. I don't know. I don't like the idea that there's this huge bar here in the middle of the pilot visibility, but I guess the important thing for them is being able to lean forward. I do think it contributes to the sort of industrial nature of things. Yeah, I don't know, but what I can say is that closing that off does make the craft feel a bit more complete now. The actual control panel will just slide in like the original. That's something to keep into consideration. I can't remember if the chair, how that slides in. Does this slide in from the front or the back? It looks like it can go in from the back. So that's alright. Right? Not just imagining that. Yeah, that'll be fine. So that should not be an issue in and of itself. But yeah, if this prints flat, obviously not the chair part, but this, there are a few problem areas. Modale says, those windows would work great with some transparency sheet. Yes, you could print a flat layer and then do cutouts. On the note of supports, no one tell him I adjusted the pinus to use supports for one part. How dare you! I'm sorry to say that John was playing with my pinus an awful lot while I was gone. Brian says, what if you break up the cockpit into smaller, flat, straight parts? I did consider that. But I was considering doing that here just for the front section, and I'm not sure it is necessary. This is a problem that I would normally just flog off to John, if I'm being honest. I don't know, this is a steep angle. This angle... Ugh, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to change it too much. That's the thing. Let's look and see what we would have to do. Wait, I've got to kill the spider crab there. What would we have to do to make this angle not be as much of an issue? So let's make sure our grid snaps on. You could, fix it up so it's basically there. Wait, is that? Oh, that wasn't a correct angle anyway. I thought that was, following a certain, let's see, how many squares is this? 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's every third square, so what I needed to do was this. Something like that. Would still be a challenge to print. I'm turning my head as if that would make things easier for you guys to see. Drop of glue to assemble. Brian, that would solve the problem, but we're glue free here, buddy. We're magnet free. John says, I can see an alternate print orientation that could work. You can make the entire upper window a separate panel that slots into place, add some bolt details to it, make it look good and intentional and industrial. That was my other consideration. But I don't know. It might be easier to just extend the window up like that. And I think it will take that steep angle. What is that? That's got to be like 35 degrees. What do we reckon? And that looks like it might be manageable. Let's bring this forward. The benefit here is that it does kind of bring this bar up to just above the line of sight. So that you can... does it though? I think it does, yeah, so you can just see under it. There's a lot of wasted space in the cockpit. The seat orientation and the glass makes it seem like that much of the windows is not needed. I mean, they're not, but I wouldn't want to... See, this would make it slightly more aerodynamic as well. I don't love the solution, but I do really want to make this sort of support free. Support free doesn't mean that John would make it support free. Okay. So what do we do? What do we do? 35 to 55, depending on the slice, that should be printable. Yeah, that's the thing, it should. But there are a few areas where it may be an issue. You know what we probably should do before anything else is, let's actually delete this. We'll duplicate this across. Freeze the transformations. Mesh, combine, delete the history. Isolate that. Oh no, we need to first combine this. Mesh, autosave. Combine. Merge. Then we will once again duplicate. So delete the history. -1. Freeze the transformations. Mesh combine. Delete the history. And then we weld these parts together. So we now have it as an object that we can technically export, which is what I'm looking for. So we're going to need a name. The chair could do with being a bit higher and more forward, like the seating in a crane cabin. Give more view out the window makes it... I mean, it does make more sense to do it, but to be honest, this is already quite a large release. I don't want to change the cockpit any more than I already have. The more parts I change means the more work I have to do to get it out. I think, yeah, sure, it's not the most optimal thing. It could be better angled, but it is what it is. So, I think if we export this, it's actually been a long time since I did an STL export. And technically we should probably do this in the tribes folder. Export, and I'm just going to call it carryall for now. So we'll just do carryall, cockpit, and that should be an STL, and then we just fire up the good old process slicer 2.7. Actually, the first time I've tried it out. Oh, and that's right, my Mark IV is not in good shape at the moment. I really don't feel like fixing it. I think the filament sensor is the thing to blame, but I don't really understand how it could have got damaged. That's what's failing the sensor. So I just wanted to get this going. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a hole in there that we might want to have a look at, but if we just do a quick fix, we can actually take a look and see what it reckons. So interestingly enough, it's not really flagging. This needs thickening up anyway, because we can see some filament that's just in the air. Ugh. Yeah, I don't love... That's about the same angle anyway. So either we need to change the whole front so it's a bit more pointy. Yeah. I think we might have to change the whole front. Cyclops, Space Crane. You're also going to have anchor issues for that bridge. Anchor issues? Oh, you mean with it staying on the print bed? I mean, no more than the spider crab. This actually has more surface area than the spider crab had. Yeah, I don't know. Either we keep it off as a separate thing, but then I need to think about even more infrastructure for holding it in place. I don't like this at, 4 o'clock on a Friday. I kind of just want to get it out. Obviously that's an issue, but it might be an issue for Monday. So I think what we'll work on now is I'm going to end up finishing this stream. Can we have a quick vote? Let's see, start a poll. Should the single render of the carryall have engines up or in park? There we go. And start the poll. So let me know, like, we're just gonna have a single picture like this. Would you prefer it to be like so, or like so? What looks better? I kind of like it parked. This is a Monday problem. You should end the stream on happiness. Yeah, this will be like the last thing we do today. I'm just going to move this off camera for now. because I think this image will do for our product placement. So we're at 50-50. Engines up, deployed. It's a close call today. Let's see, we've got 11 votes in, we've got 18 people here, so there's another 7 people, 8 people. Get your votes in. Let's figure out which version we're gonna do. I kind of like this. It reminds me a little bit of the Osprey. It was designed after sort of my inspiration for it was the Argo from Star Citizen. You can kind of see that in the design. I think a bit of cyberpunk's been stuck into it as well, certainly at the rear. I mean, it's just going to be... But what is the name? I'm just going to call it Carryall for now. I don't think it needs a name. I think we'll just say it's coming next week or something. I don't love not having a release at the start of the month because it doesn't incentivize people to stay, but at the same time I can already see we had like 416 people carried over. So, I mean, people are there to support me and Second Dynasty. I do like the look of this thing. I'm just going to render this. This was the last render I took. Don't worry, I saved it. Hopefully this doesn't crash. John says, our retention is among the best of any tribe on MMF. I think that is because we are quality over quantity. And, you know, I want to continue to improve what we can offer. And I feel like doing craft like this every month is certainly something not anyone else is doing. And, you know, I myself would be happy to pay $5 for a craft like this instead of, what, 15 or 20 or something like that. I think that's a good deal. And especially when we're doing our build plates the way that we do. So I think it's like, if you're in the know, if you know what we're actually doing, and you follow us, it makes sense. And then, of course, the other thing, which is always at the back of my mind when it comes to the tribes, is we do not want to be one of those tribes where they're just going for the cheapest possible solution to get as many people as possible to buy in at $1. We're not about that. We're about quality over quantity. I think you can see that. And this is not our main shtick. This is like 25% of our month, right? Tops. So I think when this is all said and done, I probably would have worked 4 or 5 days on this. Which sort of stands up to things. So we ended up on a 50-50. Is there a decider vote, or should I just... This is what it would look like when it's deployed. I'm just going to quickly file, change the project to tribes, just so I can save this more easily. Save image. What did I call it in here? I think I called it the... looking for the image here. Sorry, guys. I thought I saved in here. Oh no, that's Starfighters 3. I meant tribes images. Isn't that interesting? Why did it go to that? I just called it a lifter in this one. So we'll save over this file, save image. Again, we're in the wrong project, I think. Set project for tribes, set. Oh, the issue might be that we just needed to refresh this file, save image. Yeah, we did. Lifter 1. There we go, engines deployed, so it'll be this image. We're gonna go with that. Thank you guys for your help in this matter. I do like this. This feels like it's more my style. And it kind of feels, after having, you know, had this rejuvenating trip back home You know, sort of like visiting some of my old haunts. Did a few things too that I haven't done for many years. Like I haven't driven on the left for 20 years. It was nice to get back in the saddle and be able to get myself around. Get a feel for like, you know, what it would be like. There's always a part of me that like fantasizes about moving back. And then after about 3 weeks, I'm like, yeah, nah. Maybe my accent changed back a little bit too while I was there. It usually does. But yeah, I just thank you guys for putting up with me today. I'll come up for a name for this that is not just carry all, but I did like the idea behind the camel. I'd like to still theme it to something that sounds like the spider crab would do. Maybe some other insect. Name would be appropriate. I'll have to have a think about it. So I'm going to get this graphic out. I don't think we'll name it until we actually do the release. I like the idea that it can drop off this cargo. It is a bit bulky, but it still feels... I feel like it has this cool factor to it. And it looks like it would work well as a spaceship. It looks well... like it would work as even on a planet, as an industrial sort of solution. So yeah, I'm just, in general, I'm happy with this design, especially for something I just literally made up, maybe on Tuesday or something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna end the stream, guys. We'll be back next week, and I will also probably do an update regarding the Traveller stuff, but I need to have some meetings first. So thanks for joining me. See you next week. Bye, guys.